College welcome you to the second day of Atal Academy, sponsored online FDP on blockchain technologies and its applications. This session is on the topic blockchain, bitcoins, and what next. The session will be taken by Dr. Anand Nayyar, Acting Editor-in-Chief, International Journal of Smart Vehicle and Smart Transportation, currently lecturer, researcher, and scientist at Graduate School, DTU, Vietnam. We will be taking all the queries, if any, at the end of session. Right. So over to you, sir.
Harpreet sir, is my screen visible to you?
Yes, sir, it's visible, sir.
Okay. So can we start, sir?
Yes, sir, we can start.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Anand Nayyar, and I'm working as professor, researcher, and scientist in Graduate School, Dutan University, Da Nang, Vietnam. Before I start my presentation and introduction, I would like to tell you that the topic of the workshop, that is blockchain technologies, is very relevant these days. Because don't consider this as a blockchain or Bitcoin just as a mean of the money, but today Bitcoin and blockchains, or you can say the blockchain-based platforms, are regarded as one of the most strongest platforms for IT researchers, security companies to perform security layers and to defend the network against online attacks. Even if you talk of the most critical application that is known as smart cities or smart transportation of the near future, where we have autonomous vehicles, the security lies totally in the hand of blockchain technologies. I was going through a report today only, and the report says that in 2021, blockchain, machine learning, even your smart cities, IoT, they will be the most relevant and the most talking technologies of the future. And naturally, I agree with that part, because all the technologies, if you talk of today's technology, where the world is changing like by global quantum positions, we can say that blockchain, bitcoins, and what next are the new positions of topic to be discussed. So ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the day 2 of this FDP. And today I will be taking the FDP in which I will be giving you an in-depth information regarding blockchain, bitcoins, and what next. And many people ask me one question, sir, we want to invest into bitcoins and blockchains, where we can invest, what computers we require, and what else we require. And is there is no government in between, so is it secure? And do we think that the frauds are happening? So all these queries and many more will be coming to this lecture. So I want all of you to kindly sit back, relax, and enjoy, and take your pen and paper with you and note down the important points and jot down your queries. And after the session, I will be taking lots of queries because I love to take queries. And after that, we wind up the session. So first of all, let me introduce myself. You can see some of the glimpses of my life. On the left-hand side, you can see this is the photograph of Dev Day Da Nang. Last year, I presented my research on LoRaWAN and sensor communications with the power of Internet of Things, and my lecture got the Best Lecture Award. In the history of 25 years of my university, I became the first foreigner last year to be awarded as the Best Researcher Award. Here is my conference of IC-IIT that is happening from last 2 years. This year we organized in the month of February in Hanoi, and next year we are organizing in Ho Chi Minh City. All the papers are indexed in ACM Digital Library, Scopus, and ISI Web of Science. So if you are interested to submit your paper, you are most welcome to submit the paper. And here is my speech on Google I/O. So even I'm also acting as a Google I/O speaker here in Vietnam from last 2 years. And here is my innovation that I did on Internet of Things. That is a smart owl, and it's so much smart that it can control your home appliances. It can even control your smart televisions, temperature, humidity levels, and all other gadgets that you can think of, with pricing less than $50. So I'm working as professor, researcher, and scientist in Graduate School, Dutan University, Da Nang, Vietnam. I'm a PhD in computer science in the area for sensor communication, swarm intelligence, and network simulation with 17 plus years of teaching experience. And I have published 425 research papers, 50 plus articles on open source, and my Google Scholar citations are 2150 with H index of 25 and I index of 65. That's one of the best index. And I'm also acting as a senior member for IEEE and ACM. Along with that, I'm acting as ACM Distinguished Speaker, the first and the only one in Vietnam. So I'm a certified drone pilot, and I have delivered more than 200 invited talks in 8 countries and 100 plus faculty development programs. I'm having 5 Australian patents that are granted and 2 Indian patents that are granted. And considering my teaching and research, I have been awarded 26 awards for my innovations, inventions, and contributions to the field of computer science and information technology. So first of all, let me talk to you regarding my contributions towards blockchain. So you can see this is my paper, which has been published in IEEE GlobeCon 2018 conference. It was awarded as a best paper award. It's an A-star conference, a blockchain-based framework for securing electronic healthcare records. My specialization I will be discussing later, but my focus is basically towards hardening the cloud security and improving the healthcare sector. That is the 2 areas I'm working. So authentication protocol for cloud bases using blockchain mechanism. Again, it is one of the best papers that you can see. And we have designed our own architecture based on blockchain and fog computing for Internet of Everything in smart cities. Again, a very good paper, which is the first paper to be oriented towards blockchain and fog computing in smart cities. And here is one of the latest paper that I have published in MDPA Energies, Enhancement and Security of Handling the Inconspicuousness of IoT using Simple Size Extensible Blockchain, where I have designed my own blockchain, and you can read this paper online. And this is the biggest chapter till date, A Blockchain, A Path to the Future. So my publications are all in SCI and high-end journals with strong impact factor. So my roles in blockchain, because I'm having experience of 4 years, only 4 core years, which are even I can say the core experience, with 2 years of security and 1 year in research. So I'm basically a Bitcoin professional trader. Suppose if you want to trade into Bitcoin, like suppose sir, you can tell me, sir, I'm having $400 and we want to trade into Bitcoins. So I will be telling you Bitcoins is like even like a share market where you have investments into different types of shares of Tata, Birlas, Reliance, and other things. You have the different types of currencies you can invest into that, but you must be having strong knowledge for that. I'm a Bitcoin miner. I will be telling you my infrastructure, researcher in industry for blockchain projects, including testing and security. Over here in Vietnam, we have 5 chapters of blockchain. I'm acting as one of the top professionals in those 5 chapters, in which we regularly discuss what is going to be the future market and where we can discuss and how we can improve the mining technology of blockchain. But my specialization is towards implementing the blockchain into critical applications. I'm a professional programmer using JavaScript, Solidity, and C++, and I've written 3,000 lines of code, and 4 bugs I have already reported towards Solidity, which has been accepted and being revoked. And even I'm a system architect for Bitcoin system development, algorithm designer for complex mathematics for security and real-time implementations. So my area is only healthcare. And right now I'm working on smart cities and IoT. So very soon I will be also able to do my finishment of my research towards blockchain in autonomous vehicles, where I'm doing my research. So the most of the people say that we want to go for blockchain-based research, and 90% people don't understand that in order to perform the blockchain-based research, you require a very high-end system. I'm saying very high-end system, but preferably if you really are a starter, even though you can see this is the configuration that I use. Okay, this is the computer that I use, and you can see I use i7 10700, which is the generation 7 processor, and we have the Intel performance tuning, and this system is equipped with 256 GB of RAM, and I'm using the RAID 10 module for that. And even secondly, I'm also using an Apple Mac Pro, but there is also one computer that is secretly customized, so we don't open that. So I'm using these 2 computers, but one more computer is also there with me in my lab, so that is what I use today. So let's talk about the lecture from this slide now. So I will be taking the lecture in a very beautiful manner. There will be boring theories and other things. I will be practically demonstrating all of you. Now let's start off evolution of money. Now what is money? Money means that you buy the goods, you exchange something. Okay, but there was a time when we have the barter system, where if you have one cow and I have a horse, you have a cow, you can exchange with each other depending on the value of the product. But after that, we shifted our technology, the mankind, towards metals. That is called gold, silver, and bronze. Then came the metal coins. But even today, most of the economies in the world are now going to dispose metal coins. Right now, Japan, Philippines, India, they are all into metal coins. But in the future, we will not see the metal coins. But the prominent currency today, or the money, that is your currencies, whether it is Indian rupees, Vietnam dongs, US dollar, Hong Kong dollar, Singapore dollar, all types of things. Next came the revolution towards plastic cards. We all know debit card, credit card, forex cards, and today we don't carry cash because we know that the word can even steal our pockets and other things, and that is the reason we use plastic cards for that, which is having security now. But after that, we have electronic money, that is online transactions like IMPS system, NEFT, or other things. But now revolution started from exactly from 2016 onwards, when we have the Bitcoins and the blockchain. So basically, Bitcoin is a currency. In order to manage Bitcoins, we need to have a system that is actually known as blockchain. So what it is, I will be explaining everything in a very simple terms. Okay, so you can say we started from barter system to metals, to coins, to paper money, to cards, online transactions, and now we have the Bitcoins. I will fully agree on you that most of the countries are not ready to adopt Bitcoins, but still the starting has already done. Japan, USA, China, India also. At one time, Supreme Court was against of these Bitcoins, but today there are lots of apps and lots of companies that are using the money, and you can trade into Bitcoins. But beware, there is no authority over there. So there can be a theft, but you have to be vigilant and you have to be very much trusty person for that. So otherwise you lose your money. So you can say that what are the top cryptocurrencies? Like in the share market, we also talk of different types of mutual funds, shares, like, okay, if I'm earning 50,000 rupees per month, where I should invest into that. So the portfolio manager will come to you. They will say you, okay, you can put 5,000 into Reliance Industries, 5,000 into SBI, like other things. And I can double my money in next 5 to 6 years, depending on the rate of return and the market. So similarly, in the world of blockchains and Bitcoins, we have top cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Treadle, Ripple, Litecoin. We have EOS, Tron, Stellar, Monero, and even Cosmos. So depending, you can say that daily as we see the fluctuations of prices of the mutual funds shares in the market. So similarly, we also see the fluctuations of these type of currencies. So sometimes they are like a rocket and sometimes they are below the ground. When I started the research into Bitcoins, I started the research, and even when the first Bitcoin started, it only started with $175. And now you can see, this is just a screenshot 4 days back. You can see today one Bitcoin is costing $10,783. So you can say that how much money I have earned in last 5 years. So I will not tell the number, but I'm having handsome amount of Bitcoins with me now. And even Ripple and even Ethereum, I use many things. So the future is already here, but it is not evenly distributed. We can say that the future is not toward distributed computing. It is basically will be towards peer-to-peer communication network. So similarly, you can say that if you talk of Bitcoins and blockchains, I will be discussing later part in this lecture. It is actually known as a peer-to-peer network, where the blocks are connected to each other. Entries are there, like we have the linked list. And linked list, like we have the peer-to-peer computers distributing the information, and everything is connected like a spider web. So we can say that the future is towards peer-to-peer computing rather than to pure distributed computing. But it doesn't mean that distributed computing will not be there. It will be there, but the most of the central backbone of communicating with the different technologies will be towards peer-to-peer communications. So the computing power, now I've already told you that you don't require a simple MacBook or simple a computer with i7 or 16 GB RAM to start as a Bitcoin miner and to do some programming. We have to improve our system. So you can see on this chart, the computing power in everyday things is already more than everything in every data center. You will be stunned to note, everybody, that when the Facebook started their operations, yes, when Facebook started their operation, their first data center was having 32 GB of RAM. But now you can say that 32 GB RAM, you can even buy into your portable computers. Maybe you can say in next 5 to 6 years, the power of data center will be equivalent to the power of a MacBook Pro into your hand. So you can say with the global connected computing, the devices that are installed are becoming like a quantum shift over there. And soon we will have quantum computers, and everybody get ready for that. We will have a quantum leap into technology. So don't think in the future, we only have these processors, motherboards, RAM, and these SSDs. Maybe the future will have the different technology, which is totally embedded. Maybe in the near future, you don't have to assemble the computer. Everything will be running in one connected board. And we can say that with these embedded chips, the computing power will double or maybe 8 times better. And that will be the precision machine for performing Bitcoins and blockchain-based operations. So the result will be nothing less than a complete shift in how the technology solutions are designed and architected. So you can say, now let me tell you, I'm not talking of today, I'm talking of today, modern era. Today's modern era. Today's era is not slow like 10, 15 years back. Just now, 2 months back, just 1 month back, we came to know that Windows is now 35 years of age. You can say that when we started with Windows 1.0, what was it? It was not even an operating system. We started like an application when it used to be installed with Windows 3.1 with a DOS operating system. And now we have Windows 10. So we can imagine that we have come a big way ahead in technology. So the today's modern era is expensive computing and high trust environment, very high trust environment. So today, if you talk of cloud computing, what is cloud computing? It is basically using your work or doing your work in a computer that is not actually owned by you. So today, if you talk of Facebook, what you do Facebook, you just connect your computer to the internet, you go to Facebook, you do the chatting, you do your WhatsApp, you do Messenger, you post your photos and videos. It is not onto your computer. You are trusting the computers of Mark Zuckerberg. So today's computing has the most important parameter is trust. That's why the issues happen of privacy. That's why these companies are fighting the law war suit again and again. That is of privacy, because privacy is the main thing that builds up the trust. So the main thing is we have centralized internet. But if you talk of the postmodern internet era, you can say that the computing will become almost free. Yes, it will become free. Maybe in the near future, you don't have to buy your, install even your operating system. You will only trust the cloud. You just need a portable phones or other things. You can do that. You can even check this thing also, the postmodern era. Let us talk of the gaming consoles of today. You can see Microsoft Xbox has launched the new series, S series, and you can see that they have the two models. One is with the disk and one is on the internet. So even you can say that on the internet, which means you are playing everything online. You don't have to store anything onto your controller. So this also says that even with Google Stadia, we can say that this type of technologies will be using cloud computing. And in order to pay them, in order to make them a network, we require blockchain-based communication network. So the question is, are we moving into a trust environment? So that is a question in front of you. The most important thing is we are depending totally on internet. We can't live without internet. We are doing everything, every work on the computers that we don't own. But are we having a trustworthy environment? Is our data private? The question stands in front of you. So the question is that the future could be the distributed internet. So today's content will be what is blockchain and what is exactly meant by Bitcoin. I will be explaining you in a very depth manner, and my lecture will motivate you to use this technology to write research papers and to take this technology into very serious manner if you are doing some projects at a master level or even at a PhD level. So some people even ask me, sir, we want to do PhD. And when I say them blockchain, they just get scary that, sir, what we will do in blockchain? When I say them, there are lots of possibilities, use my presentation and other things, then they came to know, sir, we have lots of possibilities. So my research lecture will be towards making you motivated towards how you can improve research papers and you can use blockchain into various critical applications. So second, we will be using the case study that how it is relevant to your business. So business can be any. Even 10 days back, I was checking one thesis that has come to me from Korea. And that thesis was implementing the blockchain technology to telecom sector. And I asked it was a brilliant thesis. And I asked him one question, that why only telecom sector? Do you think that you have confined your model to telecom sector? Why not you can use this model to different things? Why not we make a hybrid model, a scalable model, a flexible model? So that is what the new research is, that the model should not be confined to one critical application. It should be dynamic and it should be scalable. And the third thing we will be discussing is the real-time blockchain case studies. And last but not the least, I will be giving you some awareness of the latest blockchain and open source platforms. But you can read my research papers, my articles. I have published lots of things on blockchain. So let us start with base timeline of online transactions. Very important for you to understand. So you can say that 1990 was a year when the modern era shifted from cash to digital. And you can even say that even today, let me tell you, even I was listening to one YouTuber, that is Pablo from Tokyo. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. And this week you can subscribe to his channel. And this week he was taking a video that what is the day of a Japanese politician. And you can say that that politician has done a very good job. And you can say that Japan's new prime minister is on its high agenda to convert all the documents of government into digital. And same should be applied to the Indian government. Rather than to have the files and piles of papers, we must go to digital. So similarly, from 1990, we have started the movement from cash to digital. And the 1991 was a first thing. Before that, let me tell you, everybody, it was not digital that we start off this SBIindia.com or IndianOverseasBank.com. It was not like that. Digital means that rather than paper currency, how we can transact the goods without using any paper currency. That is what we can say the movement actually started from 1990. So don't consider it is online banking. Online banking has not started at that time. It was the only thing that how we can reduce the paper money or add something good which can complement or substitute paper money. So 1991, the new currency or the new platform came from David Chum, that is DigiCash. In 1992, this was Cyberpunks, a publication of Cyberpunk's manifesto. Again, a popular area that you can do your research, that you can do with Cyberpunks. And even you can say the latest game has also came, Cyberpunks 2077. In 1997, this came into the main thing because that DigiCash was having some security issues. But 1997, Hashcash, which means that the cash became secure with hashing. And it was improvement done by Adam Back. Very important person, and he was a person that actually laid the foundation of security into online transactions. Today we use SSL, but at one time it was not secure. So today, if you have online transactions with firewalls, encryption and decryption, with hashing technology and complex algorithms, it actually started with 1997 by Adam Back with Hashcash. And then we have the first thing, which was the mixture of DigiCash and Hashcash by VDAI, that is B-Money. But still, it was having some complexities. I will be showing you. And after that, the Nick Szabo, they published the first research paper that was actually known as Bitgold, which was actually the currency, but having some issues in terms of implementations, in terms of funding and security problems. But after that, the things blown away with the Bitcoin. And let me tell you, everybody, I would like to tell you a very short story. Some people say it is Satoshi Nakamoto, but nobody knows who exactly is Satoshi Nakamoto. The paper came into being with a Bitcoin like an idea. But who were the people, who were the persons who actually published the paper, it is unknown. So even today, nobody knows much about Satoshi Nakamoto, but we say that he was the person who actually brought the concept of blockchain, not the Bitcoins. But Bitcoin was a currency. Okay, so you can say very little information till date is known to this type of technology. So 2008 was the area when Bitcoin by Satoshi Nakamoto as a father of modern currency came into being. So now let us study about DigiCash. What was the problem? You can already know about DigiCash now. So the identity becomes the new money, which means you as a person becomes the new money. Full traceability. But today we don't have the traceability. We have everything encrypted, 256-bit. So that's why we can say that it is today highly secure. Full account control by monetary sovereign, which means by the government. But today we want to have those money which is not controlled by the government. Blockchain is a currency that in which there is no involvement by any government. We can do black marketing, we can do anything, but yes, these are the cons of blockchain that are being associated. And near absolute efficiency in tax collection. But over here, if you have a black money, you can just convert everything to Bitcoins or digital currencies and nobody can point you out. So this was a person, everybody, that David Chum with the DigiCash. And you can say that he started with a research paper, blind signatures for untraceable payments. Untraceable payments means that nobody knows about the exact originator of the sender and the receiver. Everything is cryptographically signed. So cryptography was the main tool which actually find the way that how we can transact from cash to digital. And it was founded in 1990. But the main thing was that it became bankrupt in 1998. The idea was this one, but you see that the foundation stone for the digital cash today was not Satoshi Nakamoto. He is known as the father of this one, but digital currency transactions. Very few people know that David Chum was the person. He is actually known as the father of online banking policies or online e-money today that we know. So DigiCash focuses on making transactions anonymous. Nobody knows. The information is cryptographically signed. But at that time, in 1990s, we can only use a DES with only 64-bit. And that's the reason the security issues happened. And the consideration was undesirable ability to incite the public spendings and private life. Again, I'm saying you, privacy was a problem. So you can say that this was the Cyberpunk Manifesto, again, a very rare image I'm showing you right now. And it was originated from Eric Hughes. Privacy is not secrecy. It's a big quotation, everybody. So understand very important thing. One term is secrecy and one is privacy. Okay, so if you have a good question, you can just work on this answer. I will discuss in the end part of the session, which is more important, privacy or secrecy. And these two are different words. We will understand that in the end. So the privacy in an open society requires anonymous transaction systems. Anonymous, which means even if I'm doing some transaction from a bank account, from an Indian overseas account, from here to Amazon, bank has no right to track me. Everything remains anonymous, everything remains cryptographically signed. And privacy in open society also requires, again, I've told you, cryptography. So the person who actually changed the DigiCash to new level, it was Hashcash, Adam Back. He was actually known as the originator for these secure currencies. So he used the partial hash collision based postage scheme. Very important. Very few people know what exactly the inventors did. So I'm telling you in a detailed manner. So basically, he added a hash collision based postage scheme, which is equally like making the chains and doing the data in terms of a public block, like a block cipher. So spam prevention system can easily verify the computations. And at that time, computers were not so secure and his currency system was actually getting better and better. So Hashcash became the basis of mining algorithm today. And even today, when I do the mining of the algorithms with some mining of the cache, I use only the hashing algorithms. So I will not give you much information about my practicalities because every Bitcoin miner has its own secrecy. But today, most of the Bitcoin miners use hashing to mine the currency, to authenticate the transactions, and then we get the bonus like a commission agent. And this was a person, everybody, VDAI, the originator of B-Money. And over there, he uses the public key pseudonyms, which means the public cryptography, in which we have the creation of money using Hashcash. And after that, he added two more advantages, that is the proof of work and proof of service. And that's the reason, everybody, these B-Money, you can see that the inventors started the works, but day by day, inventors keep on improving that. But Satoshi Nakamoto was basically not the inventor, he was the innovator. He added many features from these old technologies and added as a Bitcoin that was actually used for implementation. So the next person, my personal favorite person who actually did more work, I can say, rather than Satoshi Nakamoto was Nick Szabo. He was the inception of BitGold, that is called as a binary gold. And BitGold introduces the timestamping and creation of money using Hashcash. Again, you can say he added only the timestamping, but the Hashcash was again adopted by David Chaum. So incentives to keep the node honest, you can see today, if you have the blockchain, I will be telling you one by one. So in blockchain, everything is in the terms of blocks, and blocks contains the list of the transactions that are happening. But the only thing was the nodes were having some relay as well as some security issues. And that's the reason BitGold was having good architecture, but it was not having a good model. And that's the reason BitGold came diffused from the market. And now we have the Bitcoins. So the summary, you can say, who sends? When we have David Chaum, especially DigiCash, which started in 1981, and VDAI with the B-Money, and Nick Szabo with BitGold. And after that, who do I send? By Satoshi Nakamoto. So it solved all the problems of proof of work, security, authentication, everything. So now let us talk of blockchain technology. Now let me tell you what is exactly meant by blockchain. So basically, if you're talking of blockchain, it consists of the number of blocks. Every block has the transaction listed, which is again in encrypted manner, which cannot be decoded by any computer on the planet right now, except quantum computers. It is 256-bit SSH. And once you link one block, because every block has a capacity, to list the transactions. So it has to be going towards next block. And in order to chain these blocks, in order to make a network, there must be a linear chain, or you can say hash chain, in order to convert them. So once the blocks get the information, every transaction gets recorded. It cannot be tampered. So that's why we can say it is called block and chain. So basically, it is just basically known as a ledger that contains the list of the transactions that are actually happening in the world without adding any temperament. So that's why you can say integrity, authenticity, confidentiality. The CIA principle gets perfect number in terms of blockchain technology. So the first generation, you can say store and transfer of value. So we have Bitcoins, Ripple, and Dash. This is the first generation. Second generation, when we have smart contracts, today we know it as a Ethereum. If you are going for a like a land registry, if you're going for a you can say some mutable transactions like of property building, accounting, auditing, we use Ethereum. But the third generation, that is actually known as an enterprise blockchain, we use Hyperledger, R3 Corda, and Ethereum Quorum. So my favorite is R3 Corda, where I'm researching into enterprise blockchains. And fourth, which is actually known as the next generation, highly scalable with high concurrency, that is known as R-chain, that is known as regression chain. So that was the evolution. So again, I repeat you, blockchain is basically a technology that enables to work with Bitcoin. That is actually making the currency to work for you. So if you want to do some Bitcoin transfer, like suppose if I tell you, madam, can you transfer 500 rupees from your account to my account? You have to register me with your bank, like a name, account type, account number, IFSC code, etc., etc. Banks approve you, and after that you send me the money with some OTP and some mobile authentication. So similarly, in blockchain technology, you can even transfer the money, the sender and receiver. But the only thing is there is no government, there is no bank in between. We have the Bitcoin wallets, we have the values, we have some consensus protocol, and then we exchange the money. Okay, and when we do the transaction, that transaction number, that transaction details just get registered into the block, which cannot be written, which cannot be erased, nor it cannot be updated. It is just write once, read many. That's all, like a CD-ROM. So the question stands, everybody. Now you can understand my question, why the world is going crazy towards blockchain. And why not? Because it is secure. You don't have to pay any taxation. The government involvement is very less. And above all, it is secure. Frauds are less. I don't say that frauds are no. Frauds are less. I can say less. And above all, you can be rest assured that the transactions will happen with full authentication and confidentiality. And even blockchain should not be only used for currency trading. You can use blockchain for even implementing the security towards lots of things. You can see my research papers. We have used it for cloud computing, for smart cities, for IoT, autonomous vehicles, many things. Healthcare sector, everywhere. Okay. So what is blockchain? Now let me tell you in a very deep manner. So blockchain is basically a platform. So whatever the transactions that are happening in the world, you can see that if you do a transaction from your online account, from your bank account, that, okay, sir, I want to buy this pen from Amazon. You just put up your Amazon, add it to the cart, select the payment method, and the transaction gets recorded into the server of the bank account. Over here, you can say that it is again recording the transactions, but there is no third party. These are the computers that are actually connected, making a blockchain network. And the people are there like me. They are known as blockchain, Bitcoin miners that actually verify the transactions. So everything is unknown to them. No information of sender, no information of receiver, just the codes and to authenticate. That's all. And you can say that no one knows. And that's why I'm saying you everybody, Satoshi Nakamoto has given Bitcoins, the concept of Bitcoins, but till date, nobody is there. No one in the world knows who actually invented, who actually started the blockchain network. It is unknown, it's secret. And even you can say that author Satoshi Nakamoto, we cannot confirm today, even his authenticity, that whether he has done the work or not. So you can say that it is like a ledger. You can say that if you're good into accounting, you must be knowing that if a business is there, he has to journalize the transactions. Like, okay, you want to purchase something, sell something. We have a journal, then we have a ledger. So it is like a distributed ledger among different types of computers, and they are having peer-to-peer communication, and all the transactions that are happening, it is actually recorded in a block, and all the transactions are cryptographically signed, that is SHA 256-bit. And once these block gets over, it is connected to another block with a chain that is a linear chain. And that's how it makes a blockchain network. And that's why we can say we have a trust. Because why? Nobody can see anything. Even I will be showing you the screenshot. You cannot see your name, the receiver, the amount, only the transaction that will be cryptographically signed, which contains every information. Nobody can tamper that. Nobody in the planet can tamper that. So the key concepts that are associated, you can see encryption. Naturally, we are using SHA 256-bit. Integrity. Naturally, there are Bitcoin miners who integrate your transactions. We have the companies, we have the platforms that are doing the currency trading. We have the mining. So that all the blocks can be computationally cryptographically hashed, so that no tampering can possible. And replication, if there is any transaction, it is replicated to all the blocks, so that no tampering and no violation of any trust between the parties can happen. So that's why you can say encryption, replication, integrity, and mining. ERIM. This is the new word for the cyber world. So gone were the days when we used to study to our class CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and authentication. Today we have ERIM, encryption, replication, integrity, and mining. So this is the new future. This is the new current word of cybersecurity. So blockchain, you can say it is little more than distributed. Naturally, it is having peer-to-peer communication network, security, and above all, what is blockchain? It is having the series of blocks that is actually making the records of the transactions, like a log file. That's all. So blockchain is nothing. The blocks are nothing. They are just connected to each other with a chain on a computers, and they're just recording the transactions. That's why it is called hyperledger. That's why we can say it is called a distributed ledger. So blockchain can has many meanings. You can even say that it is important to distinguish between the Bitcoin currency, Ripple, and Ethereum. Every currency knows and is known about its values. So still, we need to perform some more information with regard to the trust machine. So blockchain has many meanings. You can say that at one time, if you talk of a phone and a blockchain, what is phone? It's a phone network. You just have to dial a number, and after that you transmit your information and the phone gets disconnected. So similarly, in a blockchain network, if you want to transfer some money or information, you have a sender, you have a receiver, you have the communication line via the blocks, and you can transfer. And Bitcoin miners validate your information. So the question is, how we perform the transaction. I will be showing you the game of chess, but after that, I will be showing you with a demonstration. Listen carefully now. Now, suppose if you and me want to play a game of chess, the first thing is that we must have the equal army. There should not be more, it should not be less, it should be equal. And secondly, if the rules are for you, the same rules should be for me. And third, if there is any unnecessary things that are happening, the game should immediately be terminated. So like a game of chess, we have some consensus, we have some primary integrity. Similarly, we have to agree on some mechanisms in order to do the transactions. So you can say that if you agree on the state of board, you can play the game, but if you don't agree, they cannot play the game. Like suppose if I want to transfer the money, or suppose if I want to transact about $600, so it doesn't like a dollars. I can transfer the money like in terms of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin should not be like one Bitcoin. It can be like 0.00441. It can be any. I have to do the transaction with the Bitcoin wallet. I have a wallet, you have a wallet. And after that, I just need your ID. And I will just convert that $600 into equal Bitcoins. And I will transfer the money to your wallets. And once that transaction happens, it goes to the miners. There are different miners. Now about 4 to 5 miners, they work and they validate the transaction. And the first person who validates the transaction, he gets the bonus. That's why it's called a rat race. So in my career of 4 years, I've already told you, I have validated 24 transactions. And that's a great number, I'm saying. You can see that with only validation, I've earned lots of money, I'm saying. So you can say that with this type of present state, and after that, we just have a transaction that is actually recorded to the block. So similarly, like a game of chess when we play with two opponents. So similarly over here, we play a game like of a chess to transfer the money, but we have to agree the rules of the board. So the question is, what's that to do with blockchain? So we same have a distributed system. We have to agree on some system. We have to start with some initial state, and we have to understand the transactions, and we have to agree mutually on the state. So which means that if I'm having 3 Bitcoins and you want me to transfer 5 Bitcoins, we cannot play the game. So if you have 3 Bitcoins, I want you to transfer $800. If that transaction comes to about 1.4, I will do the transfer, which means now I will have 1.6 and you will have 1.4 plus minus 1.4 plus 1.4. So similarly, like we do the transactions in banking. So you can say over here, you can just read over here. So the example is Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is basically a currency that actually uses the blockchain. Ripple, Ethereum, Litecoin, they all use the blockchain mechanism. These are the currencies. So if you want to play with this currency, like we follow the rules of stock exchange, SEBI, Reserve Bank of India, they make the rules. Okay, because we have the government. But over here, we have this blockchain system that actually makes the rule in order to do the transactions, because there is no centralized authority. So the ultimate goal is that how much Bitcoins you own, who owns which property, and what is the current state. And after that, we need to transfer the money depending on minus current state to the new current state and to the new future change of the state. So what is blockchain? It permits the transactions that gathered into the blocks and recorded. I've already told you, just the blocks getting the recording of all the transactions and resulting it into a ledger. That, okay, sir, it's the biggest books of account, like a hundis, which we say, and we keep on recording the transactions like anything. Okay, like suppose if you have accounting software, what is that accounting software? It's basically a log file that is actually giving the recording of your transactions. What is the purchase, sales, logistics, returns, and other things. So similarly, but the main thing is over here we have the blocks, but everything is cryptographically signed, SHA 256-bit. So you can use it for various use cases. So these are the critical applications that you can use. And if you're doing your research into masters, you can take any of these critical applications and you can design your own blockchain. So even you can do that, like we have recently seen that Mr. Joe is now the new president of United States of America. But what the governments are saying in the near future, that the voting system should be placed on blockchain system. So maybe when in India we have the new elections, rather than to have the voting machines, we can have, rather than EVMs, we have the blockchain system. That is more secure. Rather than to going to the government office, going for land registries, food distribution, we have the blockchain systems. So the applications are ample. The only thing is you have to make a system that is mathematically correct, agreeing with the parties, giving them an architecture, and playing the crucial role. So the transactions are immutable. I have already told you that if the transaction happened in the block, if it is validated by the Bitcoin miner, the transaction will never be erased. It will be written. It will be, you can say over here, blockchains are write and read only. So there is no ink or nothing else that can be done. Once the transaction happens, it is done. So even we have recently designed one, you can say some healthcare system. I will not share much about it, but because we are already in the verge of getting the Australian patent. So once you do the heartbeat, even your healthcare monitoring system, all the logs of your health will be recorded like a block into the remote healthcare center. So we are making some data center that is actually blockchain enabled so that the patient records or the patient medical history should not be tampered. So all the sensors take the data and all the data will be actually going towards IoT, and that IoT will be connected towards that blockchain cloud. So that is my system that is actually being approved from Australian patent. Soon we are going to get it. So we have the decentralized peers, legacy network, and the distributed peers, that is the blockchain network. And you can see over here that the legacy system, which is known as the current economic policies by the government, it's very laggy, but we have the distributed ledgers that are actually having the peer-to-peer communication channels. So the encryption, I've already told you what is encryption, just making the original data into sense that is unpredictable by anybody. That's a simple definition of encryption. So similarly, in encryption, in blockchain, we have two types of things. One is known as a public key that we actually use for the real time, and one is a private key that is only between sender and receiver. So that's the reason this is actually known as the most trusted worthy network. So I have already told you, like in the game of chess, we have to agree on some platform, and we have to agree on the state of the system. So similarly, we have the consensus protocol. So many people ask me this question, sir, which protocol does blockchain use? And I ask them the answer, they don't use the protocol, we use a mechanism. So similarly, protocol is basically known as rules and regulations, like a mechanism how you transmit the data from one computer to another, like TCP/IP protocol. So over here, we don't have the protocol, we have a mechanism. So over here, we have proof of work, we have proof of state, proof of activity, proof of one. So the only thing that is working in blockchain is consensus. So basically, it is known as a mechanism on which both the parties should agree so that blockchain-based system can be used to transact something, whether it's a registry, whether it's money, whether it is auditing, whether it's property, logistics, voting, anything. It should be with a consensus mechanism. So that's your answer, everybody. Blockchain don't use any protocol. It use mechanism, consensus mechanism, and depending on your critical application, you have different types of consensus mechanism. And even when the research papers come to me, like from various Springer, Elsevier journals, I always give the papers with major revision that please kindly highlight your consensus mechanism. What is the exact consensus mechanism with the mathematical model you are producing? So when you are writing a research paper, please focus on consensus mechanism. What is the type of consensus mechanism and how you are actually proving the real-time critical application and the viability for the work of this type of blockchain-based mechanisms. So why the blockchain use cryptography? This is an important question. So in order to initialize the transaction, we have two types of things. One is known as the digital signature that is being provided by the Bitcoin wallet provider. You can use anything. And second, we have the public key, which is actually not being used by you, but it is a centralized public key that is SHA 256-bit. And we have the private key that is only known to me and the other person. And second, we have the proof of work, which is done by the Bitcoin miners to validate the transaction. And in order to chain the blocks, because blocks are known as the hyperledger, the biggest ledger in the world, we have the hash function. So everything right from the start, from validation to the entry and to the maintenance, we have cryptography. And that's why it is the most secured network in the world with no room for hacking. I have not seen in my career that is actually being hacking, but yes, I have seen some frauds that some people have ran away with the money or other things, but you have to be very vigilant for that. So the distributed ledger, you can say that we have the single entity system at one time, but we have the multiple entity system. Now one entry is there. So similarly, other entries will, same replication will be done to other nodes also. So that who is the Bitcoin miner, he can validate the transactions. So how the distributed ledger works? Now understand very carefully. Now suppose I am person A and you are person B. Now let's not talk of distributed ledger. Let's talk of banking system. Like suppose if I want to pay you $100, I'm in India, I'm in Vietnam, and you are in India. So I must be using some transaction handling body like Western Union. I will pay them $100 plus some charges. And after that, they will give me an MTCN number. And that MTCN number, I will give it to you. You have to go to your local branch, give that MTCN number with them authentication, and you will get the money. So similarly, when you want to do some transaction, you must be knowing about my bank account number or other numbers or even the PayPal system. But over here, it is not like that. We don't have any authority in between us. That's the main thing, which means between person A and person B, there is nobody. There is just a network. And for that network, we have the Bitcoin miners to validate the transaction. So the users initiate the transaction and they have their digital signatures. So every transaction must have a digital signature over there. After that, the transaction is broadcasted with a private key and a public key on the network. And once it is on the network, the Bitcoin miners came to know that a transaction has happened. And that's why I'm telling you why we use a state-of-the-art system, because we need to perform complex algorithms and complex mathematics to validate the transaction. If I'm a late person, I will not get the money. I have to be quick. I have to be able to crack the code, and I have to validate the transaction. So once the node is validated, the transaction is handled to the block, and then the nodes broadcast the block information to other nodes, that what is the consensus protocol. And once it is agreed, the second user will agree that, okay, sir, this is for me, and I will get the money, or I will do the transaction. So it is like a distributed ledger. So it is just having a log file, which is actually being recorded on the blocks. And the validation happens with miners. So the blockchain in a nutshell, you can say it's a shared, replicated, permissioned ledger technology, providing access to all sectors, having low cost, improvement in trust, integrity, and above all, it is immutable, having consensus mechanisms. So this is your area for research, everybody, that what are the potential applications. You can see over here in smart contracts, in digital currency. So what is smart contracts? Many people say that what is a smart contract? Today, if you have a music album and you want to obtain some copyright, you can even do a smart contract with them. In the future, like suppose today, many people will agree with me, even I'm an editor, the most important, or you can say the most worst work of getting as an editor, I'm saying you, is getting the copyright forms. Most worst work, I'm saying. It wastes my time like anything. So if I have a smart contract, and if I make the logins like that, so all the authors can do the smart contract with me and they can do the smart contract with Springer itself. Rather than to get these copyright forms, verification forms, we have the smart contracts. So that's the area. We can improve our conferences and edited books also. We have digital currencies. We have the record keepings like voting, intellectual property, title records, healthcare. This is where I'm doing my work, and securities. So in securities, you can even add autonomous vehicles for that. Now, everybody, the answer that you were all waiting for, how exactly is blockchain works? Now, first of all, listen to me very carefully. The answer and the working will go towards your soul, not into your heart or your brain. It will go to your soul. Now, see this. The only thing between blockchain and the regular banking system is that between blockchain and between you and the other person, there is a bank. There is authority, but over here between you and me, there is nobody. There is only a network that is having Bitcoin miners to validate the transactions. That's all. So let me tell you, the first thing is there is person A who wants to send the money to person B. Here is person B. You can see my mouse here and here. So the first thing is like you have a bank account. Similarly, you must be having some Bitcoin wallet account, Bitcoin wallet. Okay, so Bitcoin wallet will be having some identification, your ID. And after that, you can put some money from your bank account, or you can do some transaction like you transfer the money into your PayPal account or other things. You must be having some money over there. And once the transaction happens, if you initiate the transaction with digital signature, putting your private key and a public key, every transaction is recorded into a block. It becomes a block. That is a block, which means you are sending a block of 1.047 Bitcoins, 1.45 Ethereum to me. That's a block. And that block is broadcasted to the network like in a peer-to-peer network. Those who are active, they will be actually validating the transaction with complex algorithms. This is the work of me who actually validates the transactions. And after that, once it is approved, it is done. This transaction will be recorded into the block. So that's why it is called a blockchain. So block represents the log files that is actually between a transaction that happens between A and B. And after that, that money, once it is validated, it is given to party B. Automatically, it will be transferred. So once it, if you talk of normal banking operations, it takes 30 minutes, but over here, it takes only few seconds. On an average, you can do one Bitcoin transactions in less than 45 seconds. That's the fastest. So the only thing is, again, I'm saying you, the weakness that I'm saying you is lack of trust. And secondly, we have to have more skills. Very few people have skills over there, but the opportunities are ample. We cannot have any frauds. We cannot have any risks, and the threats can be high because right now the governments are not happy for that. And sometimes technological failures can happen because it's a pure technology that is not in the hands of the authorities. So the revolutionary benefits you can just see. It's tamper-proof, no intermediaries, peer-to-peer. We have security, reconcile data distributed across all the participants like a hyperledger. We have smart contracts. And here are right now the 50 top companies that are using blockchain. So you can say in terms of banking, we have HSBC Bank and Visa. Soon we will see MasterCard. Supply chain, no need to introduce Walmart and Ford. Healthcare, and you can see Pfizer, and we all know the Pfizer today. This is the first company which has claimed that now they have the antidote for COVID-19. Yes, everybody, we have the antidote for COVID-19, which is right now 90%. But there is one more Russian company that is claiming 96% now. We all know DHL, we all know Shell, JLL, Bank of China. We have the government of Dubai, Seoul, and even Uganda. So soon we will see the government of India, but we don't know when it will be there. So in traveling, you can say that Singapore Airlines, if you want to book the ticket from India to Singapore, you can even do with, rather than currency, you can do with blockchains and Bitcoins also. And these are the world's biggest companies, which you can see on the screen right now. So with this, you can say that the power of adoption of blockchains is really good in the real time. And we say that blockchain has a good future in almost every sector in the planet today. So business networks, they are actually connecting, and the wealth is growing with both public as well as the private markets. Ledgers, you can see that all the transactions that is actually happening, whether it is bringing in like a debit, going out like a credit, sales, purchase returns, assets, capital, everything. These are the ledgers, but we have the ledger as a key. So you can say that you can see that today's business, once it becomes global, it becomes very complex, because suppose if I'm running a business in India, now I have a business in Dubai, then I have a business in Hong Kong, then I open a factory in Singapore, then I do some like a marketing in Japan. So similarly, we can say that the recording of transactions become very complex. Frauds happen, inefficient, expensive, and lack of transparency. But with blockchain, everybody, the business becomes like this. We have consensus, we have immutability, we have financial control. And that's the main thing, everybody, that everything is on a single ledger. Everything is foolproof, tamper-proof, authenticated, and immutable. And that's the advantage, that why the businesses, corporate worlds, they actually require blockchains to solve their problems. When I was talking to one CEO, I will not take the name of the CEO. It is one of the biggest companies in Vietnam. That CEO is my good friend. He told me one day that whether you agree, Dr. Nair, or not, I was in one conference with him, whether you agree with me, Dr. Nair, or not, that one day businesses, whether they agree or not, they have to come into blockchain. We have to adapt its pros and cons. But with that, maybe we can improve our transparency system, and we can reduce the complexity and noisy data from our transactions. And that was the words by one CEO, which is one of the billionaires in Vietnam. So let us talk of this person, Satoshi Nakamoto, but nobody knows about him much. He actually conceived the concept of Bitcoins, and 2009 was the implementation of Bitcoin. And you can see over here, it is not using any invention. It is actually doing some innovation. So again, we use the public key, which means we have the private key between the receiver and sender, and public key for the network. Timestamping is there, and we create the money using Hashcash, same Hashcash. And above all, the bashing of the transaction, which means once that transaction is recorded into the blocks of one thing, we use the Merkle tree. Many people gets confused that, sir, what is the use of Merkle tree? So I would like to tell you, Mr. Ashish Taneja, I will give you the answers one by one, no problems. So Merkle tree, now let me tell you, like we have the principle of bashing. Like suppose one transaction happened, then second transaction happened, then third transaction happens. So we have to do the authentication of transactions. That is only done by Bitcoin miners. But all the transactions will be recorded properly in the form of the Merkle tree. So Merkle tree is one of the data structure that actually validates the transactions. And that is the real-time implementation of blockchain, where technology is becoming revolutionary, and that's a trademark. Like we have R, we have US dollar, we have Bitcoins. So you can see that blockchain is basically an invention that is required as a network to validate the Bitcoin transactions. So Bitcoin is a currency. To float that currency, to work on that currency, we require blockchain. And you can see every block is like a block, and all these blocks inside that, these are the list of the transactions that are actually happening. And once the block gets over, it is actually connected to another block by a hash chain. And that's why it is called like a linked list data structure. So in that chain, it requires the address of previous block, it requires the information, the validation, and above all, it requires the address of the next block. Similarly, like a linked list that we study, like a doubly linked list or a single linked list. And that's why it is called generic processing. And I have already told you about the consensus protocol, so I will not much about it. So right now we can say that if you talk of 2020, I'm not talking of 2020 today. Maybe I should talk of March 2021. This Bitcoin market can even touch 21 million Bitcoins in the next 1 year. And you can see that the cost is like, but there is no domination. Like, okay, I have 100 rupees note or 50 rupees note. It is not having any domination. You can do anything. $0.01 is even called a Bitcoin. $100,000 even it is called a Bitcoin. So you can just take the denominations of money. And this is a very confidential data that I'm going to show you, that August 18, when the domain, 2008, when bitcoin.org got registered in Japan, and in October 31st, the Bitcoin design paper got published. That makes the revolution. November 9, it became source, which means open source. 2009, you can say that in January 12, 2009, the first transaction happened in block 170 from Satoshi to Hal Finney. It was the first transaction of $1 that Satoshi sent to Hal Finney. Very rare date and very rare data that I showed you. And you can see over here that the market cap, when it started, it was only 267 US dollars, but today you can see it is touching about 10,450 US dollars. When I started investing into Bitcoins, everybody, you can do the mathematics. I purchased 3 Bitcoins at $944. 3 Bitcoins at $944. Today, one Bitcoin is 10,000 US dollars. You can multiply the money that I have earned in just 4 years. Now you can imagine how much money do I have in my bank account using Bitcoin, and I don't have to pay the tax to any government because there is no authority in that. So we have the Bitcoin 2.0 with smart contracts, voting, and reputation systems. And through the results, we can see that we have the original transactions, but the copies of transactions, they can be replicated from one server to another server. And all the records are getting synchronized. So the Bitcoins are secure, efficient, open, and commercial. And that's why for open source, we use the 3 languages only for Bitcoin. Many people ask me that, sir, we want to learn blockchain. What languages we have to use? I say only 3 languages are there: JavaScript, C++, and Solidity. So I just come to this one. Okay, so now we can have the Ethereum. So again, you can say if you want to do the contract like a land contract or a money contract, we can do with the building blocks of Ethereum. And Ethereum is used to transfer the money, memory, and code. And contracts are maintained by the network, not any single authority. So if anybody says you one thing, that I am the person who acts as a middleman between you and the party, he is befooling you. There is no middleman between the sender and the receiver and between the 2 trusted parties. There is just a network. Okay. So now let us talk to the second part, why it is relevant for your business. So I have already told you the words of CEO. He told me that whether you agree or not, whether the businesses will be happy or not, we have to come to blockchain because the businesses transactions become very, very, very complex at one time. So we saves the time, we removes the cost, we reduce the risk, and we increase the trust. And that's what we can say. These are the 4 major advantages of blockchain for the business today. And you can see that if you remove these 4 problems, or if you give these 4 advantages to the business, most of the businesses will be very happy to adopt it. But the question is, we need to motivate them, we need to encourage them, we need to give them the possibilities of the future regarding the pros and reduction of the cons, that why you should now start adopting and using blockchain. And you can say that we have the shared ledger, smart contracts, all the transactions are embedded into that. So you can say that you can see on the photo right now, contract agreement. No need to have a contract agreement written and signed by me, then to the Springer or to Elsevier, other things. It will be autonomously automated. And that's why you can say that we have the shared ledger, security, permission, private keys, confidential permission, digital assets, consensus protocols, and smart contracts. So all these things, everybody is making the businesses scalable and viable. And above all, future-proof for no frauds. So what is a smart contract? We say that the small computer programs can even execute the complex contracts, but the only thing is that everything has to be recorded and everything must be on the secure blockchain. So like the worker, we have the secure ID, like we tag on the ID, it is verified by the database. Similarly, automatically all the products have to be verified with logistics. And above all, we need to trigger the payments with proper authentication and source code. So I just come to this one. So the blockchain uses for the business. So only two theory parts I would like to share. Business contracts. So if you really want to have some contract or the agreement between the parties, you can use blockchain. International transactions. So the biggest weakest advantage is that if I want to send the money, I have to pay the charges, then I have to wait for some time. So over here, we can do the transactions in a very easy manner. We can do the auditing of records in a very easy manner with the blockchain technology, insurance claims, and the taxations. Everything. So you can say that even if, let me tell you, if the income tax department of our country start adopting blockchain, you will be stunned to note that the income tax money profit can even rise to 70% better. Because why? If the transaction happens in business, it cannot be deleted. Like businesses can do some tampering of transaction. How you will tamper blockchain? No tampering. That's all. So the taxation will be exact. And that's why I'm saying governments should think of blockchain seriously. So I've already told you this one. So now let us talk of the case studies now, and let us wind up the lecture. So blockchain in action, you can see we have the three types of players in the market: regulator, industry, and market maker. So I am right now into industry group. I'm not a regulator. I'm not a market maker. I encourage best practices. I do research on Bitcoins. I do investments, and I'm a miner. I'm into the industry group. So you can say the most popular company, that is Max, it is using for logistics, and all the transactions are happening with the own consensus protocol. And they have seen that their productivity in terms of logistics and maintenance of accounts, they have reduced the complexity by more than 80% in the last 2 years. So in last 2 years, if they've increased for 80%, so you can see that how much the business can earn in next 4 years and how much frauds can be eliminated. So that's the reason it is only advantages. So again, you can say Lufthansa Airlines, most important thing is the electronic baggage tag, where we reduce the time for the passengers to arrive at the airport from the airplane, and we can reduce the time to collect their baggages. EIDs, the virtual IDs. So in the future, no need to apply for the visa, no need to carry your passports or tickets. You have the identity, you have the EID, you just validate yourself and you can board the flights. That's all. So maybe in the near future with blockchain, we will be having paperless airports. And digital tracing food. So IBM is working with its own blockchain platform, and they are right now working with the McDonald's and KFC for their improvements towards logistics and quality of food. Okay, and so these are some of the selected references for all of you. So you can say that in the near future, I see Union Bank, DHL Service, and other governments that they can adopt blockchain technology in a serious manner, and we can see more critical applications happening as soon as possible. So the future of security, you can see we have the internal security transaction systems, clearhouses, and blockchain. So you can say that when we have the traditional approaches, we have internal security services, clearing houses like the banks, but now in the near future, or you can say today's future, we have blockchain, the distributed ledger, or you can say with a peer-to-peer cryptographic integrity. So everybody, these are the leading blockchain consortiums. The number one right now, which you can do your research, is Hyperledger. Then we have R3, Corda, Dominus Tower, Interledger, China Ledger, and Post-Trade Distributed Ledger Group. So these are the most important ledger groups that you can do. And the most important website that you can do your research right now, because I only depend on that website for authentication, is 101blockchains.com. So this data is from there. So right now I'm using the Goerli testfed, I'm using Ethyfidel, Status, and I'm using Mythics. So these are the 4 tools that I use to do my research. And even for my research paper, I use Remix. So even you can see one of my research paper has already come on multimedia tools and application, a Remix IDE, in which we have modified our IDE that is only for healthcare. So again, we got a SCA paper just 4 days back. And that is the comparison of the main blockchain platforms. So right now, the most important platform is Ethereum. And after that, if you really want to work as Arc, then I recommend you to work on Neo. But if you are a student, if you really want to start your research, then I can recommend you that go for Cardano and VeChain. So these are the most important platforms. And for the unbiased comparison of platforms, so we have this one again, Neo, EOS, ARC, and Aeon. And this is the crypto regulations by the country. This is the data that has been donated to me by Compliant Advantage. And you can see right now that India is coming under very strict, tight collaboration by the other cryptographic agencies. So that's the reason, everybody, that we need to curtail down, because right now Vietnam and other countries, they are just coming towards better cryptographic regulations. But in our country, in India, we have very tight, and that's not good. And this is the top 100 cryptocurrencies by the market. So if you really want to invest, so the question comes in front of you that many people ask me, sir, we are beginners. We want to play the game into blockchain. We want to earn money, and but we don't want to go for high risk business. So where we should start investing? And I openly tell them that please don't start the investments via Bitcoins. It is dangerous. So I request them that you can start with Ethereum, because the price is about $171. You can even go for XRP. You can even go for Litecoin and Cardano. So right now, if you ask me that, sir, if you are the investment body for us, where you would like to invest? So I would like to play a game of your money with Ethereum, because with Ethereum, my clients, because I will not tell you the name of my clients, I'm having more than 30 clients with me whom I do. So I invest mostly into Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin, Litecoins, and other things. And rest, it is confidential, so I will not share much about it. So they are very happy, because I have already doubled their money in 6 to 7 months. So thank you so much for calling me. Now the house is open for questions. So if anybody wants to contact me, you can follow me on Instagram. You can just search my name. Here is my email ID, my WhatsApp number, and my website. Website is already started, and soon we will update the rest of the information on my website. Okay. Thank you so much. Now the house is open for the queries.
Dr. Anand, actually, we already have 2 questions. One from
Yes, sir.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Dheeraj.
I will be taking the questions now, and I would love to take the questions. Okay,
great.
so let us
Dheeraj?
start with the questions now. From Mr. Anish Taneja, we have a good question. I'm saying it's a question that is actually, I would like to give you the answer again, but I've already answered this question. Who will validate the transaction between the parties transferring money? What are their interests and what they actually do we need to pay to them? Now, the first answer to you is that blockchain is a consortium. It is not like an authority or any public company that pays us. It is just a particular point of transaction that it happens, and the particular just a bit money of that, just like a small Bitcoin money, like 0.0222 comes to us. It is like a cryptographically hashed. So the validation of transactions between the two parties will only be done by the Bitcoin miner. So suppose if I'm on the Bitcoin network, so if there is a transaction happens, so I just get to know about the transaction. I take the transaction, I do some complex algorithms and mathematics, I validate the transaction, and my work is to validate the transaction and to give it to the third parties that, okay, sir, this transaction is validated. It is in the block now. It is immutable. Consensus protocol is verified with the proof of activity, proof of work, and proof of state, and then the money will be transferred to the other parties. Since no authority evolved and bit fraud free, still are transactions challengeable in law courts as of now? No court will listen to you. First of all, Mr. Anish Taneja, it's a very good question. No court will listen to you, because if you just go to the YouTube, there is one lady who actually did a fraud of $17 trillion 4 years back. And today, even we don't know where she is. She is underground since then, and nobody knows about her. And still, the court will not give you anything, because there is no law, there is no act of anything that is actually there on Bitcoins, because no government is involved. If the no government is there, then where is any law protection there? Even let me tell you, even I'm a cyber lawyer. So even in cyber law, we have no laws that are connected to Bitcoins or blockchain-based frauds, nothing else. So who pays the miners in Bitcoin? I've already told you it's a centralized consortium. So they give us the mining of the validation of the transactions, and we people get some percentage for that. Is there any relationship between blockchain and cybersecurity issue? Blockchain is basically a mechanism that provides a platform for Bitcoin or currency handling. And today it is actually used as a cybersecurity measure. Okay, so it is not like an issue, it is a cyber security measurement that, okay, sir, I don't want to use firewall, I will use blockchain. So even I would like to request the guest people that if they want to have my another lecture on future transportation, I'm working on a flying car project also. Even I'm working on a drone project also. So in that drone, we don't want to secure the drone with some cyber security or firewall. We want to secure the drone with blockchain mechanism. So that's the reason we have that. So the next question by Ranjana Shivekar, is scalability an obstacle for implementation? Yes, of course, it's an option. It's an obstacle. Yes, it is an obstacle because blockchain is no doubt a trusted system. No doubt it has privacy. No doubt it is dynamic. It is flexible, but still it is need to be more scalable, which means scalability means that it has to enhance its operations from businesses to enterprises to governments to ordinary people to hotels, restaurants, everybody. We need to be scalable for that. Are smart contracts also not approved by laws? It is never approved by laws. It is just a private thing that is actually being used. It is just a concept. Even let me tell you everybody that blockchain today has even not exact definition also. We just define blockchain with just its simple feature characteristics. There is no as such definition for blockchain even today. No consortium, no registered definition. Yeah, you are most welcome. Any other question, please?
Dr. Anand, we have 2 questions in Q&A.
I've already answered all the questions, sir.
One of them is, does public blockchain have any future? Because permission blockchain seems to be quite more effective.
Sir,
and that's
you can see over here, if you can see my screen right now, you can see there is no question like that. Okay, can you give me the question right now, please?
Okay, sure. I'm reading out the question.
Yeah, sure.
First question is, how is double spending solved in Bitcoin? Since it takes about 10 minutes for transaction confirmation, and if I make another transaction within that time, and I have sufficient funds for first transaction only, and not for the second one. Please explain how this process is performed.
I have already told you, sir, that when I was explaining the presentation, that everything in that transaction processing is done with Merkle tree. Merkle tree means that both the parties would have to exist, and the second transaction will not happen unless or until the first transaction is validated and it's a successful thing. And after that, if you really want to make the mechanism, you have to make the state of the system ready. And mostly, if you can say that public blockchains, they are secure or not secure, we cannot assure, because who are the constituting body? Because today you can see that some people also tell me that even I have been to India last year. So I've been to last year India. So one person, she called me at late night, and that girl was crying that, sir, one person came to my email and he just added me on Facebook. And after that, he told me that if you have some money, like 5,000 rupees, I will double your money in 2 days in blockchains, etc. And after that, the person was nowhere to be seen. So these type of frauds usually happen with the private blockchains and even with public blockchains. But the main thing is you have to be in hands of a secure person, experienced person who has the knowledge of that. Okay, that's why you can see that I'm having only 26 clients with me. I don't want to add more clients from the last 2 years, and they're happy with me and they're giving me good business, and I'm earning good business with them. So the main thing is that doing this procedure, it is not a very simple procedure. It's a complex procedure. Frauds can happen to you. Like if you go to a share market, if you don't know the knowledge of the company, you don't know what exactly is blue chip, you don't know what exactly to invest, how to do investments over there, then the broker can even steal your money. So still you have to be vigilant above. So Mr. Rathi Raj has given me a question. Give us an idea about hybridizing AI with blockchain and blockchain with IoT. That's a good question. I would like to say that even I would like to tell you that if you really want to hybridize AI with blockchain, the most important critical application is your autonomous vehicle, as well as it is the medical healthcare application. And even you can go with voting also. But if you talk of blockchain with IoT, you can see my research paper. You have lots of IoT applications like Internet of Medical Things, drone things, Internet of Underwater Things. You can maintain their security and secure communication between the devices. But in the near future, if you talk of smart cities, when we have millions of nodes, because in the future, we will not have the communication with Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, we will use LoRaWAN. So for the LoRaWAN, it supports lots of devices, lots of sensors. So for that type of sensor authentication, you have to use blockchain. So smart cities project, smart buildings, smart grids, very good area to research. Okay, Dr. Muhammad Umar has given me a question. If I buy Bitcoin, my government will be able to trace it as I need to pay using net banking or card. As India officially don't recognize Bitcoin, how I can buy Bitcoin? So, okay. First of all, no need for this thing. I would like to open a website in front of you. That's called CoinDesk. First of all, if you really want to update for the information that what is actually happening in the world of Bitcoins, what is the exact currency, you can see that right now it is at $18,341. In 3 days, it has jumped to $8,000 more. Now you can see everybody that how much big fluctuation it happens in the world. So I would like to share one thing with you. So if you are interested, let me tell you. Okay. So if you really want to buy the Bitcoins or the blockchain based currencies, so I would like to give you this thing. So you can go for this website called BitBNS and you can buy the Bitcoins over there from this website. And there is another website that I would like to recommend all of you. Zeppay.com. It is actually for India and you can perform lots of transactions where you can just buy, sell, or do anything. You can just use your credit card. You can do anything. So it's like it's like paying to Zeppay. Nobody can track you, and they can give you the payment in terms of Bitcoins. So that's the answer. So no need for any tracking or other things. And you can even use this website. That's a good website. This is called WazirX. And again, you can see that it is basically, you can say it is actually made for India. You can see buy, sell, and trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, and more cryptocurrencies in India. So you can just sign up and you can just invest your money like 5,000 rupees from your credit card into your currency. Okay, like they will give you some currency that, okay, sir, like suppose if you don't want to do it, you can just tell me that, sir, I want to do a transaction of 5,000 rupees. So what I can do, I can just take your 5,000 rupees and I will give you the Bitcoins. Like, okay, you can tell me that, okay, sir, give me 2,000 rupees of Ethereum, 1,000 rupees of Litecoin, 1,000 rupees of this and that, like blah, blah, blah. And after that, you just have to keep a note on IO on this that, okay, sir, this is my value of yesterday. You can get the booking value and you can just book the profit and you can just go for transactions. Okay, so that is what do that. So lots of things are there, but again, you have to be very vigilant for that.
Dr. Anand, we have two more questions at Q&A. This is from Pooja Sapra. I have heard Russia and Venezuela would be using their own national cryptocurrency to drive a sense of transparency and curb corruption. But I'm confused as using this would be increase black money and how
Sir, black money increasing is a part of it, because let me tell you, if you are having some extra money which is not declared to the income tax, that becomes a black money. Okay, which means that you have not paid the tax. So most of the people, they use this type of blockchains and Bitcoins, and they use like governments like Japan, China. China is now opening lots of currencies. India has also opened that. So, but the main thing is government has no control. They just want the transparency to happen, but still the government cannot impose a tax on your profit. Like suppose if you do the transaction with me today that, okay, sir, today the Bitcoin is about $18,000. You buy one Bitcoin for me and I give it for you to $18,000. So tomorrow, if the Bitcoin becomes $20,000, that $2,000 is your profit. Nobody can touch a tax on that. So what all good wallets are available? So I have already told you these are the wallets. So you can go for Binance, you can go for Zeppay, you can go for BitBNS. So you can see the websites, you can take the photo of this. Okay, Mr. Dinesh Kumar has given me the question. Kindly provide the link of research paper. I have already given you the link, so you can just go to my Google Scholar. You just go over here. Or you can just search me on Google. You can just search me on Google. You can just type Google. If you just do my search, my name is itself a search. You can just go to Google Scholar. And here you can find my research papers. Yeah. So here you can see that latest research paper has come to us, That is this one, a Remix IDE, short-based, smart contract-based framework for healthcare sector by using blockchain technology. So this is my recent research paper that I have published in Multimedia Tools and Applications. Most of my papers are in regular issues, not special issues. So you can even do this paper also. Actually, lots of papers. I do lots of paper publications. So just wait. Yeah, this is the chapter that you can see. And yeah, this is the paper. So in the future internet, that is blockchain and fog-based architecture for internet of everything in smart cities. That you can download. It's available free of cost. And you can follow me on ResearchGate. You can just search me on internet and you can follow me there.
Dr. Anand, we'll be taking the last question. That is from Supriya Lamba Sadev. What is the process of handling 51% attack?
What is the process? Sir, can you type the question, please? I don't understand. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't understand.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm typing it in
Yeah,
chat.
you can type the question, please. Yeah.
This is the question exactly asked.
This question is not complete, sir.
No, this
What
is
is the
the
process
question.
of handling 51% attack?
Yeah, this is the only question.
Okay, she can give me the she can give me more detailed question on my email. I just leave my email here and I will answer to her later. So everybody, here is my email ID. Okay, and here is my professional email ID. And here is my WhatsApp number.
So I will thank Dr. Anand for such an informative session. Thank you, Dr. Anand.
Thank you.
And we'll be starting the new session at 12:30 as already conveyed. Till then, please stay back.
Yeah, sure. I'm here. Just if anybody wants to ask any question, they can ask me on the chat. No problems at all.
Great, sir. Great.
So I would like to share some websites with all of you that if you are really interested into the trading of blockchain, so or Bitcoins. So here is the website. You can see that cryptocurrency, like we have the Bombay Stock Exchange website where you can get the list of the shares and brokers. So over here, it is like a Bombay Stock Exchange. You can see the valuation of all the Bitcoins, Ethereum, Ripple. So start investing into like this one, Ethereum and Ripple. And you can even go for like this one, Binance Coin, EOS, Stellar. You can see that some currencies are very expensive. Some are very cheap. You can invest 5,000 rupees. When I started my research, I started my investment. I started with just 10,000 rupees, but I have earned lakhs. I'm saying lakhs of lakhs in last 4 years with this. Actually, you can say that with Bitcoin, I have become a rich man in my area for this this currency drilling. This has paid me a lot. I'm saying a lot. Any other question if you want to have, you can have. Yeah, you can buy. I have told you the Binance company, the BNS, the ZebApay, the Verax. Okay, so you can do the trading, but you have to be very clear about the operations. You have to be clear about the market, everything, capitalizations happening of the market. And this market is very less hit by the COVID-19. And this was a neutral market, and we have investment lots of this. And very good website for this, and you can find all the things over there. Presentation slides, ladies and gentlemen, maybe I will not share, but you can just find the information online. Okay, can we use blockchain in wireless sensor networks? Yes, of course, you can use for wireless sensor networks. Even my one paper has been accepted yesterday in IEEE Access, in which I have made my own routing protocol. That is a secured routing protocol that is actually using blockchain technology for secure authentication of the nodes, so that we can reduce the black hole as well as the channel forwarding attacks. Even the selection of the cluster head. So the soon paper will be online. That has been accepted.
I guess all the questions are over, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nair.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we will have our next session at 12:30.
Okay, so Bopana Murli Krishna has given me a question, sir. Can you suggest a textbook on blockchain and cyber security? So listen to this website very clearly. Just go to this website called pdfdrive.net. I'm opening in front of you. So if you just go over there, all the books are available free of cost. You can find tons of ebooks. You can see. You just type blockchain and press enter. So you can find all the books and you can download the books just free of cost. No need to pay any money. And if you have any book in your heart, you can just search there and you can download all the books free of cost. The website is pdfdrive.net. You can even go for top trending ebooks in your inbox. You can just even type your email. So if there is any book which you would want that is of deep learning, artificial intelligence, blockchain, sensor communications, you can even type this one also here. Let me show you. Like if I type wireless sensor network, so you can even start with this thing. You can see that all these books are free of cost. So no need to go to any torrent website or other things. You can download these books free of cost anywhere. And every day they keep on adding the books of Springer, Elsevier, Rocks, Wiley. Everything is available on this website. Anything else, everybody? Ask me questions if you want. Any other question by anybody?
Any questions, participants? It's Nagasudha. Question: is there any website to refer about standards and protocols of blockchain?
Yes, I have got my channel for my lectures. You can just go to YouTube. You can just, okay, let me show you something. You can just go to YouTube and you can just search my name. So I'm having my own YouTube channel also. Soon I will be opening up more videos. You can see this. Recently we have designed our own LoRaWAN and this is the video for that. So you can subscribe to my channel. That is Dr. Anand Nair. And even you can go to this one. That is, just wait. You can go to the playlist. And over here, you can see my technical lectures in various institutes. So you can find all my lectures of research methodology, blockchain, drones, communication networks, everything over there. And even you can see my other websites also. My other channels, like soon, because this year I was very busy in my lectures and other things. So next year I will be putting up regular videos. Every Saturday I put new videos for that. Soon cybersecurity videos will also be coming. I'm making my own radar. I'm making my own antenna for hacking the wireless networks because my specialization of computer hacking is wireless networks hacking. So soon I will be putting up that how you can make a dummy Wi-Fi and you can hack the entire hotel or a building. You can hack the entire mobile phones also. That's good that you are teaching blockchain technology. So if you are teaching blockchains, just focus more on your practical things, how you can work on Solidity, Hyperledger, smart contracts, and above all, try to give them more information towards Merkle tree, proof of work, cryptography, as well as Ethereum. That is what we suggest for that.
Do we have any more questions? Yes, all the questions are over now. Thank you, Dr. Anand, once again. Thank you very much.